here's what I want to spend a little bit of time on as we kind of get away from yesterday's game and kind of zoom out a little bit and look at the Lakers and look at what's happened over this stretch of 10 games right now or so far for the Lakers. For me, I got three things that really, really stand out to me. A couple that are very specific, and then a couple others that, you can kind of place blame as you wish. But the biggest thing that stands out to me of why the Lakers have lost 7 of 10, I don't care right now about the injuries. Forget about the injuries here for a quick second, because you didn't need LeBron to beat Brooklyn. You had LeBron and Rui. You still lost to Chicago. You rested everyone against the Milwaukee Bucks because you wanted to give them a chance against Chicago. Okay, we know what happened there. What's the excuse against Orlando yesterday? So I don't want to harp too much on the excuses that the Lakers would have if you're losing games. But the one thing you can't have happen, and for me, it's the biggest thing that has stood out, they're not playing defense anymore. A squad and a team that I saw this Bleacher Report had a good article on this. I think it was this morning. They had a really good article on this. This 3-7 stretch that the Lakers are on, and this will tell you a little bit of something. The Lakers had the best defensive efficiency in the NBA for a month, from January 30th through March 6th. So the Lakers, for that stretch where they were winning all these games, they were churning a lot of heads. Luka wasn't in the lineup. There were times Anthony Davis wasn't in that game against the New York Knicks. They trade Max Christie. They trade Anthony Davis. And all of a sudden, the Lakers, you're just assuming their defense is going to kind of collapse, to be honest with you. It's like, all right, well, how are they going to beat teams? Are they just going to try to outscore them? Mark Williams' trade doesn't go down. There's question marks about Jackson Hayes. There's a lot that's going on with this Lakers team. From January 30th, trade happened February 1st, to March 6th, Lakers had the best defensive efficiency in the NBA, which is why every single person that covers the NBA, talks about the NBA, or is just sitting here and is a fan of the league. That's why every single one of these people said to themselves, I think Lakers got a shot at doing some damage, because they were getting stops and they were playing defense. Okay? Since March 8th, when the Lakers' 8-game winning streak was snapped by the Boston Celtics. So that's the first game of this 10-game stretch, was against Boston, where the Lakers really started struggling. They have the 8th worst defensive rating and ranked 24th in offensive rating. There's your answer of what's going on with the Lakers. I mean, if you want some numbers, I'll give you some numbers. Boston, they gave up 111. Brooklyn, they gave up 111. Milwaukee, they gave up 126. Denver, they gave up 131. Milwaukee, they gave up 118. Chicago, they gave up 146. Orlando, they gave up 118. How the hell are you going to be a real team in the Western Conference, giving up that many points in the West? You're not. I heard them saying something in the post-game show. I think it was Luka, Dorian Finney-Smith, one of the two were saying something to the effect, we let our offense affect our defense. Basically, the Lakers weren't hitting shots, so all of a sudden, their defensive focus went away because they were losing some of that optimism because they weren't scoring on offense. Guys, I don't have to tell you guys this, because I think a lot of people on here that hang out on this channel, they know ball. You're not going anywhere if you can't get stops. Nowhere. You know why a lot of people think the Oklahoma City Thunder got a great chance of coming out of the West and potentially winning an NBA championship? We'll see what happens. They got a lot to prove. They'll get the, playoffs will start, and we'll see what happens there. They lock you down defensively. Lock you down. And they got Shea, and they got other players that can get them buckets on the offensive end. And Jalen Williams is a nice player, and Chad Holmgren and all these other guys. But they suffocate you on defense. And there was a brief moment there that the Lakers, with Vando and with Dorian Finney-Smith and with some of these other guys that are on this team, it's like, damn, these guys are locking down. They're playing defense. They look like they're connected. There was a certain type of effort that I think came with this Lakers team. That's gone in these last 10 games. I mean, completely gone in these last 10 games. They've had moments. I thought they played really well against Phoenix. I thought they handled San Antonio, Denver, whatever you want to make of that. There was no Luke, or there was no Nikola Jokic. There was no Jamal Murray. There was no LeBron. So however you obviously want to look at that. But for me, the number one thing that has stood out so far is they can't get stops. Wagner yesterday had a moment in the game. Lakers down 7. They got it. It was 17 all the way down to 7. The way he took the ball on Luka, like Luka didn't even exist on the defensive side. It's like, yeah, that's going to be a problem. And then he did it on LeBron. Now, LeBron, he had to work more for it. He sealed him off. Then he hit a 3 in Rui's face. It's like, yeah, this game's a wrap. They just can't get stops anymore. All right, let me give you another thing that stood out to me over these last 10 games. Is it just me? I'm going to try to simplify this here. Do they not look that hungry anymore? Am I reading too much into something? But is it just me, or is there a little bit of that hunger that the Lakers had, that excitement that this team had, that diving everywhere, boxing out, the effort that they were given on the defensive side? That's another thing that kind of stands out to me. It's almost like they already accomplished something, and that's the way they're walking around. It's like, yeah, but look what we did in all of February. It's like, yeah, but that's not going to do anything for you in March. And it's clearly not helping the Lakers at all in March. Teams just look like they're playing harder, a little bit more desperate. JJ said something that was concerning. He said they look tired. I'm not sure why, but they look tired. How that gets corrected, we'll have to wait and see. And then the last thing I'll just point out, of course, they're still trying to incorporate everybody back. They look a little lost. It's like the team that they had when LeBron was there, everyone was clicking. They lose to Boston. LeBron goes out. Rui was already out. Since that moment, they look completely lost. And now they're trying to incorporate guys coming back into the lineup. So there's a lot going on with the Lakers. For me, defensively, number one, they don't look as hungry. I think that's an effort thing, and that's number two. And then number three, trying to incorporate different players. So let's take a look at everybody's thoughts, comments, what you guys think. But those are the things that I think stood out to me over this course of these last 10 games. That's why I kind of wanted to take that 10-game sample size. When I was watching Spectrum yesterday, kind of hit me across the face. It's like, oh, yeah, that's right. They've lost 7 of their last 10 games. Well, what happened in these last 10 games? And that's the best way that I can describe it. Let's take a look at some of the comments here, and I appreciate you guys hanging out. All right, there's a couple really, really good comments here that I'm going to get to in just a second, but let me just see some of the latest one. They seem content with just having a top 4 seed and thinking they can flip the switch once the playoffs start. I wish you were right here. Here's the problem. The content part, maybe they're playing a little bit more just like kind of cruising. But the flip the switch part, I don't think so. I don't think JJ has let me just churn it off for a little bit and then I'll turn it back on later. I feel like JJ's always turned on. Maybe you could say that about Luka. Maybe you could say that about some of these other guys, but man, that's a dangerous game to play. And by the way, being a top 4 seed, do you know they're 2 games out? And I'll talk about this in a second. I don't want to do it just yet. Do you know they're only 2 games out from being the number 6 spot, 3 games out from being the number 7 spot? It's not like they're in a spot. It's like whether they win or lose, they're not going to move. They're not in one of those positions. They can very, very easily not have home court for the entire playoffs. That can easily happen. Obviously, that would mean they're not in the top 4. Right now, they're battling with Memphis. They got a game coming up against Memphis. They still got top 5 toughest schedule in the NBA or somewhere around there. I know coming into yesterday's game, that was the case. Let's see here. You're right, not intense at all. You're in trouble when a guy with a classical composer's name, Franz Wagner, has a good game against you. He's a baller. He's a good player. They got a couple good young players in Orlando. KCP was hurting the Lakers yesterday too. Let's get another one here. Up to JJ to figure it out. I hate it. I don't know if you guys got a chance to watch my post game yesterday, but I'm playing JJ Redick, and the first thing I reacted to after the game, I'm like, yeah, that didn't give me much confidence. I don't feel like JJ even knew what was wrong with the Lakers. I don't feel like JJ had an answer for the Lakers as well. Sometimes you got to coach, especially JJ Redick. I feel like there's a lot of times this guy grabs a microphone and I can feel his reaction. It's coming through the microphone. It's coming through the camera. I'm like, yeah, this guy's ticked off. Yesterday, he kind of looked a little defeated, which is not very JJ Redick style. So that one was a little weird to watch. I'm not going to lie. That one was a little weird to watch. All right, thank you very much for watching the clip. Just want to give a shout out here to one of our partners, the Wallace Firm. They are official injury attorney of the Sliwa Show and Hoops Talk, the entire channel. If you are ever in a need, and I hope you're not, but some type of serious injury with yourself or a family member of yours, I would like to personally help you by introducing you to the best in the business, Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. Also got a URL out here that you can use as well. Just go to wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Thank you for their partnership, and thank you for being a part of the Sliwa Show.